So I'm going to make a different kind of video and have a different kind of conversation than I usually have. Now, this dawned on me as I was having a conversation with a restorer, a contractor that reached out to me today on my coaching. We're not going to end up working together, and I'll explain that in just a few minutes. But as I'm having this conversation, I was compelled to think that this is something that needs to be shared, needs to be talked about. And it really is about some misconceptions about this industry. So let me start with saying this is a tough business if you don't have experience. It's not impossible. I've seen some people come into this business with no experience and really succeed and have a large amount of success. That comes from a lot of different things. They have the ability to overcome things. They're really great with marketing, management, and business building. Builders find a way. Experts find a way to win. I have no doubt that this gentleman I spoke to today is going to win. Called up. He's in that place where so many of people watching this, so many people I know are going to be extremely familiar with, and it's those early days. And I always want to remind you that as you stay in it, keep grinding it out, survive, get through it, have some success, come across some opportunities, get lucky a little bit, your hard work pays off, relationships build, you eventually get to the next level or another level, and you look back and you remember those days and you're like, wow, I remember those days starting my company. I started my company even after having experience, and I was faced with the truth of all the things that I don't know. I built a course around this, and I'm going to put the link down below. It's a course of building a strong business in 60 days. There are gobs and loads of things that you just don't know until you go through them. And I've had these conversations hundreds, maybe thousands of times as being a coach and a consultant in this business. And I put them all into this one packaged up course, trying to help those brand new gals and men and women starting businesses, trying not to pay what I call the dumb tax, just doing it the hard way just to do it. So I'm talking to this gentleman today, and first off, he's in a very saturated market. Now, I didn't get into what made him start the business and think that this was going to be easy, but I have a perception that he did not know it was going to be as difficult or what that really felt like. Okay, so he's in a major U.S. city, a real tough city that has a lot of competition. They have a lot of storms. They have a lot of direct impact of these things. So he has a lot of competition. He's trying, he's doing his best. He's built his own website. He's built the SEO a little bit, his own. He's trying to do all that. Listen, an expert will tell you, don't try to be an expert at something. But man, when you're brand new, YouTube is your damn friend. You're fucking watching YouTube and learning what you can to do the best you can. Your first car is never a Cadillac. It's a hoopty with an exhaust leak that gives you a headache every time you go somewhere. It's what you've got to get you where you need to go to make some money, stock it away, get some opportunities, get lucky, and then eventually level up. He built his own website. It's fine. It's adequate. Is it converting? He doesn't have the organic. It doesn't matter right now. Not going with programs and TPAs, big check mark. Cautious with relationships with contractor or mostly with plumbers. He's not pay. He knows that he can't pay $1,000, $800 to get a lead. I know there's people out there that say you can, but he's just like he's doing a lot of things right. He's trying to network. He is trying to meet some other contractors, which I'm a big fan of. I'm going to introduce him to about 4 more in his market where he can band together. They have times when they're shorthanded. They have overflow. There's some things they can't get to. Perfect for a guy like that, just to get some jobs under his belt. Guy's heart's in the right place. He's had a couple of jobs this year, and one of them was a lady with no insurance, an elderly lady. He ended up doing it for free. His heart's in the right place. That's the only reason I'm talking about this, because this is the right person that we need in this industry going through a tough time. And I want everyone to know he's not alone. You're not alone. I wasn't alone. It is tough, but I can't tell you enough that you need to get to know everybody else in your market. And if they say no, they shut the door in your face, fine. But there's a lot of guys and gals out there that went through this and they remember. They might have something for you. They may have some work that they just can't get to. Maybe they can't do some contents. Who knows? So, can't afford, he's doing pay-per-click, but that's very expensive, especially in a big market. Again, SEO, trying to do everything. Just so many things you don't know. And I want to leave you with this one. And again, this has very little to do with the person I spoke to today, but it's with everyone. I wanted to remind you of something. If you take yourself out of the mindset that you own a company that does emergency services, mitigation, disaster recovery, the word restoration isn't that great of a word to use when you're trying to tell people I do restoration. Restoration can mean a lot of things. Restoration can mean hair restoration, phone restoration, furniture, old homes. But when you pair that with water, I do water restoration, I do mold restoration. That, to the average person who doesn't know that we actually exist, that sounds like water purification. You restore water. We're not restoring water. We need to develop a better terminology and terms that we use. Water mitigation, disaster recovery, flood damage, things like that people resonate with, but restoration by itself leaves a lot of people, I don't know really what that person does. What you want is every person you meet that you've made such an impression on your person, your character, that they listen to what you do, then they want to support you, and they will hopefully someone they come across or hear about will need a service that you do, and they'll remember you enough to tell that person, says, I met a really nice lady and she was amazing, had a big heart, and this is what she does. But if you say restoration, if you say something along that, even mitigation is not a word that the average person uses. So as you're building your company, I just want to give you some of these tips. But to sum up this video, it's a long, hard mountain to climb. It really, really is. Some people stumble into it. I want to get rid of the notion of just buying a franchise doesn't make your life easier. I can tell you, I know so many franchises. There are benefits, 100%, but they don't necessarily have a huge advantage over you. They have different sets of problems that you don't have. But it's not necessarily apples and apples, but they are not winning the game. You may think so. From you to look around, well, they've got all these branded trucks, but that's not equating into projects and homeowners and business owners. The best thing you can do is just become a known entity in your community or your communities, your region, as an expert in that field. People, consumers, purchasers, buyers of products and services are looking for experts. They're looking for people who deliver what they say. Not just what your marketing says you will do, but what they actually verified or actually have a referral from someone else where you did do that. That puts you ahead of everybody. That gives you an opportunity to go in and take this on. So, but don't be above working for some other people for a while. You're gonna scrap. You're gonna be swinging at a lot of pitches, as I always throw in baseball talk. All your pitches aren't right over the plate. They're going to be some wild, crazy ones, and you've got to swing to try to get your bat on the ball to get a chance to get on base. A lot of baseball talk there, right? But just I hope you take these things to heart. But if you're out there and you're in the fight, you're watching this video, we've got a bunch of Facebook groups. I'm going to plant this into Facebook groups online. There's a lot of people in those groups. So most of these groups have 5, some of them 10,000 people, but only 50 people in those groups ever speak. You know why that is? Because, well, number one, a lot of people are just super busy in their business. They're in the trucks, they're out and doing it. But secondly, they're just They don't speak up because they don't feel like they have experience or expertise. They feel like you have to be an expert to ask for that. Now, if they ask for help, they usually get beat up with just people who think they know everything and beat them up for wrong answers or asking stupid questions or whatever. All that, it's all wrong. We should be fostering and mentoring these relationships, helping people go. Is our business too saturated? Do I wish there were fewer people doing what we did? Of course. But that's where we are. But I want those that are doing it, that made the commitment to build a business, to do fire and water and restoration, mold, IQ, whatever you want to call it. We want them to do well. They're already in it. I don't want to see anybody fail because it's a reflection on what we do. Hope that makes sense. Hope you're doing well. Support each other. If you're not one to speak up in those groups, at least I know you're watching and reading. Some people watch and read everything. I write a weekly blog, or myself or Toby. We have a podcast. We have people that never, ever, ever respond. We have some that do. Some people never mention it, but they watch it and they read it and they gather information to see if it pertains to something they do. That's a true professional. That is a sponge. And the best experts are always students. That's all I've got. We'll see you. Clark Restoration Advisors, out.